than 160 million homes in Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. And with that, let's learn a little bit more about Eutelsat and their partnership with the European Space Agency.
Hey, how you doing? Are you feeling better? No. No, not really. I think it's just fatigue, dude. Might be able to see it. It's also applying ease. Go back to rest. I'm gonna rest after this. Yeah. Yeah, guys, I'm just, and don't get me wrong, like I basically slept since the stream ended. But
the European Space Agency is
yeah,
proud
I'll
through
be
its
alright.
partnership
Don't worry about me.
project, like the one with the satellite manufacturer
Listen to
Airbus,
this person talk.
to support the space industry in Europe to foster innovation and succeed in the highly competitive global telecommunication market. 8 satellites have already been sold by Airbus, with the option for a 9th. Thanks to the European Space Agency Eurostar NEO partnership project, the satellite will be used in high-speed internet connection and advanced mobility communication, as well as television broadcasting. Investing in space today creates job and prosperity in Europe and improve life on Earth.
Now that we know a little more about the mission tonight, let's turn our attention to the rocket there on your screen. That's a live view of our Falcon 9 rocket set to launch Eutelsat's Hotbird-13F satellite from Slick 40. Starting at the bottom of the rocket,
Stage 1 fuel load complete.
So that was just a call out indicating that the fuel loading on stage 1 is complete. Now, starting at the bottom of the rocket, we have our 9 M1D engines connected to the first stage, also the largest part of our rocket. These 9 engines help accelerate the vehicle through the thickest part of the Earth's atmosphere and into space. Our first stage, also referred to as the booster, is flying for the 3rd time tonight, having previously supported a Starlink mission and CRS-24, a cargo resupply mission to the International Space Station. Above the first stage is the second stage, which has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine, and that ignites after the first stage separates. The second stage is what will carry the Eutelsat Hotbird-13F satellite into orbit. And at the very top of the rocket, you'll see a large barrel structure with the pointed nose on top of the second stage. That's our payload fairing. The Eutelsat Hotbird-13F satellite is currently safely enclosed inside that 17-foot diameter fairing. The fairing is made up of 2 carbon composite halves and protects satellites on their way to orbit and will be jettisoned or separated around 3 minutes into flight. The fairing halves that make up the fairing that we are using today are both flying for the 4th time on this mission, with liftoff currently at just under 5 minutes from now. We're waiting for the retraction of the TE, or transporter erector.
Okay.
And there we just heard that the tanks are pressing up, increasing the pressure in preparation for that strong back retraction. Now, in preparation for that, those TE clamps just under the fairing will begin to open, and the TE will slightly pull away from the rocket. At T0, the ground hydraulic systems will actually pull the TE even further away from Falcon 9 as it lifts off. So we're standing by for those clamp arms to begin to open.
Nice subsonic.
And it looks like those arms have begun to open. And they are now in their fully opened position. Now, the first stage is connected to a launch mount at the base of the TE, but the structure is actually hinged and will retract away, as we just heard. You can see it there in preparation for launch. You also hear it referred to as the strong back by our launch team. Now, at this point in the countdown, both the first and second stages are nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Both the first and second stages are underway with their LOX load. Kerosene loading is complete on both stages, but that first stage will wrap up here in just about 20 seconds, and the second stage will wrap up its LOX load at T-minus 2 minutes. And the white clouds that we're seeing a little bit around the vehicle is actually the chilled gas that sits above the liquid oxygen tank liquid surface inside the tank.
LOX load complete.
All right, there's that call indicating that that liquid oxygen is now fully loaded onto stage 1. That gaseous chilled gas above the LOX tank liquid surface, we vent that overboard to maintain the internal tank pressure as needed. So the next call out that we'll hear at T-minus 2 minutes is that the second stage LOX load is complete. And then after that, at T-minus 60 seconds, we'll hear the call out that Falcon 9 is in startup. That means the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. And then just inside T-minus 2 seconds, we'll light those 9 Merlin 1D engines for liftoff.
You need to do that, Strikey. Jeez.
The Hotbird-13F satellite continues to be healthy. Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. Weather is looking great, and the range is green, ready to support launch. And we're standing by for completion of LOX load on the second stage.
Oh yeah, Mossy, I see what you're saying.
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
Okay, there's stage 2 LOX
And there's
load.
that call out indicating now that Falcon 9 is completely loaded with all of its liquid propellants, liquid kerosene, and liquid oxygen. The venting that we see from the vehicle, as I mentioned before, totally normal. So it's that gaseous...
gas launch closeout.
Like,
all right, the
trash.
next call out that we'll hear is that Falcon 9 is in startup.
There's the closeout on the transporter erector. Transporter erector's back.
We'll hear that at T-minus 1 minute. And at that point in time, both the first and second stages will begin to pressurize for launch.
Fairings have been reused 4 times, Spoon. 3rd time reuse on the stage. $60 seconds.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
All right, there's that call out indicating the autonomous flight computers have taken control of the launch countdown.
Go for launch.
Okay, LD says
and there was our final go for launch from SpaceX launch director. So at this point in time, as we approach T-minus 35 seconds, all systems are go for launch of Falcon 9 with Eutelsat's Hotbird-13F payload.
So that would be Slick 4. Slick 4E at Vandenberg does not have lightning towers. Okay. There you go, Muncie. All right, we go. 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
10.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
Down suppressor is on.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engines full power and ignition. Lift off of Falcon 9.
Go
Hotbird, go Falcon.
It's a little late, but we're good. We're flying today. Or this morning, I should say. Stand by for the power telemetry call here.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Good sleep, aren't you?
Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying the Eutelsat Hotbird-13F satellite. During ascent, the M1D engines will actually swivel and help steer Falcon 9. This is known as gimbal. The rocket autonomously tilts the engines just a few degrees, and this
Falcon 9 is
gimbaling
supersonic.
allows the vehicle to perform a gravity turn, which is when we go vertical as well as horizontal. So we're still going up, but now we're also heading horizontally away from the launch pad.
It's maximum dynamic pressure.
Max Q.
And there we heard the call out for maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Good.
So now we'll throttle those 9 M1D engines back up. In about a minute, we'll have 3 events occurring in quick succession.
No,
The first will be main engine cutoff, or MECO, as it's seen there on the timeline at the bottom of your screen.
I think that's that and not sleeping. Trying to
MECO will be followed immediately by stage separation, which, as the name indicates, the first stage and second stage will separate. And then the second engine, that Merlin vacuum engine, will ignite for SES-1, or second engine start 1.
Nice. Nice boom. Good track.
Everything continues to look nominal for the first stage. It's a great view of the M1D exhaust plume. Standing by for main engine cutoff.
I'm not sure, awesome dude.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed.
Okay, good ignition.
And there you can see that MVAC has ignited, that nozzle turning orange and white. Those 3 events happening rapidly. The first stage there on the left-hand side of your screen, and the right-hand side for the second stage.
Both vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
Daytona Beach.
Next major event is fairing separation,
right there.
occurring
Orlando,
in about 10
all the way to
seconds.
Tampa. That's
We can see the Space
Daytona
Coast in
Beach.
the
There's
distance
Space Coast right
background of
behind
the
the
left-hand
Redfin.
side of the screen.
Falcon 9 launched from
Fairing separation confirmed.
Falcon 9 launched from right
And
there.
there's our first look
Where are
at the
the mouse
Eutelsat
cursors?
Hotbird-13F payload.
Okay.
Now, those
Hey,
fairing halves
Hall
that
effect
we
thrusters.
just
Cool.
separated, we will be attempting to retrieve them again once they fall back to planet Earth. We'll be using our recovery ship Doug to do so.
Doug.
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
We're at T+4 minutes into tonight's mission, and we're currently in the first of 2 planned MVAC burns prior to satellite deployment.
What's going on with the camera?
The next event, first stage entry burn, will occur at about T+6.5 minutes, and you should be able to see it on your screen. For that entry burn, we'll relight 3 M1D engines, starting with the center one, engine 9, followed shortly thereafter by E1 and E5, which are 2 of the 8 radial engines. That burn is the first of 2 planned burns, and will slow the vehicle down as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. Now, stage 1 has to slow down to reduce re-entry forces, which helps us to recover and reuse it. Now, during that entry burn, Falcon 9 is decelerating by firing those Merlin engines, as I mentioned, but it's still moving rapidly. This causes the vehicle to fly through Merlin's exhaust gases, also called the rocket's plume. As such, a thin layer of soot from Falcon 9's carbon-based fuel, kerosene, is deposited on the exterior vehicle surface.
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal
desperate, but I'm not that
trajectories.
desperate, man. Just get some sleep. I'll sleep off whatever I have.
Now, for those that might not be familiar with why we land our rockets, reusability is key to lowering the cost of spaceflight, which enables more investments in critical scientific research.
This Hotbird-13F, it's a
Falcon 9
satellite for
first stage
Eutelsat.
that's supporting today's mission will perform this entry burn for the third time. As I mentioned earlier, it previously supported a Starlink mission as well as a cargo resupply mission to the International Space Station, CRS-24. So we're expecting that entry burn to begin in under 20 seconds. Excuse me, under 10 seconds.
No first stage supersonic retropropulsion. I'll just say it because we don't have a shot of the first stage.
Stage 1.
There we go.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There we go.
So there on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see those 3 M1D engines have relit. The
supersonic
center engine and 2 radial engines. We expect this to last for another 10 seconds.
Fight plasma with fire. I love it.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
There we go. You got it, T-Man? Oh, very nice.
All right, we heard the call out that stage 1 entry burn has concluded. As I mentioned, that is the first of 2 burns that the first stage will perform. Everything continues to look nominal for the second stage there on your screen.
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
I don't want to go outside and see if I can see it.
Good indication there that everything is on track.
I will.
For both the first and second stage. In about 30 seconds, we'll have the next milestone coming up. That's when we will shut down our MVAC engine, or Merlin vacuum engine, there on your screen on the second stage. And that will be followed very quickly by our landing burn.
Stage 1 transonic.
And there we just heard that the first stage is traveling near the speed of sound.
Stage 2 FTS was saved.
Standing by for second engine cutoff 1.
Nope.
MVAC shutdown.
All right, we started to see that the MVAC nozzle was losing that bright white glow, indicating we had a second engine
landing burn.
Second engine cutoff. And there on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see that the first stage has begun the landing burn.
Nominal parking orbit.
Nominal orbital
good
insertion
orbital insertion there for the second
First stage coming down. Come on, baby.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there you have it. That landing marks SpaceX's 147th recovery of an orbital class rocket, including first stage landings for Falcon 9
man.
Now, the mission isn't
I don't
over
think
just
that's
yet.
how fast
the second stage is now embarking on its first coast phase. After the coast phase, we'll light that MVAC engine for a second time around T plus 29 minutes. So hang tight. We'll see you back here in about 20 minutes. In the meantime, sit back, relax, and enjoy some late night space tunes.
Expected loss of signal, Cape.
So, you guys are wondering about Kite. I saw you ask, what does plasma have anything to do with it? Well, if you go back over here and look, the first stage is coming in. Check this out. So the first stage is coming down. Okay, dude, the first stage is going fast. It's going pretty damn fast. 8,100 kilometers an hour. That's pretty quick. That's what is that? Like 5,000 miles an hour. Coming in pretty fast. It's coming in fast enough to be able to start generating some re-entry heating. Okay. Hey, Ving, what's going on? Admana, 84-month resub. In honor of the W84. Nice. Release, hey, 28 months. Thank you. Sorry, lost my train of thought for a second. So when the first stage is coming down, it's enough to generate some re-entry heating. So you could see the reentry heating starting to happen right here. You see some plasma accumulation on the grid fins. It's literally what it's called. Basically what happens is Falcon 9's coming in so ridiculously fast. It compresses gases up against aerodynamic surfaces and any part of the vehicle, like any part of the vehicle that's going first. In this case, the business end of the vehicle is flying first, so it gets a little hot down there. But it gets a little hot down there anyway because the thing that's at the bottom makes a lot of heat, but that's another story. So in order to get through the reentry heating, what Falcon 9 does is it fires its engines. It fires the engines, and the engines literally prevent the plasma that would accumulate from slamming into the air so ridiculously fast and compressing the gases. It prevents it from accumulating and generating heat. Now, I know what people are going to say. I always get this question every time I talk about it, right? Every time I talk about it, people say, so the rocket engines are better for it? Well, yeah, pretty much. It's designed to have rocket engines firing next to it. It ain't designed to have plasma next to it, though. So what's going on here is that when Falcon 9 comes in and it does its landing burn here, it is shielding itself in a nice cool column of gas from the rocket engines. It's not just slowing down the first stage. That's the heat shield. The gases coming out of the engine form the heat shield. That's the heat shield for Falcon 9. Like how a capsule, when we watched Crew 4 come back down this afternoon, it has a heat shield. So what does an ablative heat shield do? An ablative heat shield burns cold. It just burns the heat shield off. And when it burns the heat shield off, the heat shield outgasses, right? Like how if you have a fire, it's releasing gas, right? The heat shield outgasses, and when it outgasses, the capsule gets enveloped in a nice cool column of gas, and that's what prevents it from popping when it comes back in. The first stage has the same problem. So it fires its engines and pushes the plasma out of the way. It is one of the coolest things in spaceflight. That is my favorite, one of my favorite things that's happening today by far and away, and no one cares about it. I've already said it, man. But yeah, that's what I mean by when I say fighting fire with plasma, or fighting plasma with fire. Because that's exactly what they're doing. They're shooting fire out the bottom of Falcon 9, and that's the heat shield. It's pushing the plasma away. It's called supersonic retropropulsion, which is just a word that I really, or a phrase that I really enjoy saying because it sounds amazing. Yeah, it was an idea that actually NASA figured out for landing vehicles on Mars. Yeah. Also, yeah, the name of the metal band. It's the name of my metal band that I've never started. So yeah, hopefully that helps. It's really, really good stuff. Really, really cool. I thought it was Racing Friday, not tonight at launch. Yeah, I didn't do racing tonight because I'm not feeling very well. I've not had a good. I have some kind of stomach bug, guys, and it is just sapping all my energy. Before I said I've done basically nothing but sleep since Crew 4 came back down. I mean, basically done nothing means that there was another room that I was in, and it wasn't the bedroom. It's the room with the golden throne. No, my toilet isn't gold. And that, yeah, not doing. You boys not doing too well. So garage, yeah, yeah. I was doing supersonic retropropulsion. Seriously, dude, I don't know. Dude, I must have eaten something. I ate something that's just draining my energy. I like chugged coffee and I'm like trying to wake up. I'm like, just nope. Not now, like earlier. I was like, yeah. Ian, you're going to Antares, NG18. Maybe I should go too. Give me a press pass and I'll go. But at least Falcon 9 is flying. That's right. Right now, second stage with Hotbird-13 is in a parking orbit. And they will do the transfer, the geostationary transfer, burn here, and then satellite deploy coming up very soon. We can share mine. That's how it works, right? Feel better. Get some rest. Thanks, man. Yeah. So, yeah, hasn't been that a good of a day. I got some kind of stomach bug, so I apologize. I postponed racing till tomorrow. We'll do Friday night racing. We'll do a Seto tomorrow at 9, and then I'm not sure what we're gonna do with GTA racing. I might just have to postpone that till next week because I have to get up early on Sunday morning. I have some errands. I gotta return some videotapes that I need to run. So, yeah. So we'll play Timberborn and stuff tomorrow. Yeah, we'll play Minecraft tomorrow, Ian. I hope you feel better, but you did an amazing job today. Oh. Thanks, Waka. I appreciate it, man. Yeah. Thank you. I don't like not being able to give my A game. It really bothers me. How many landing now? That's the 147th landing for a Falcon 9. That's what they said, right? That's what Kate said. Can you believe that? 4th time for that booster, yep. Were you kind and rewind? Dude, what kind of savage doesn't rewind a videotape before they return it? That's just messed up. I don't believe it. Me? Ugh. Guys are the worst. Do you guys also not return the shopping cart and the shopping cart collection stuff when you go to the grocery store? You know, the parking space that's reserved for the cart return. You don't put the cart in the cart return, do you? Savages. No, just steal the cart. Oh. You leave it by your car? I'm old enough to remember having the race car rewind device when they had video. Dude, was yours red or was it black? I had a red one. I had the red car. Yeah. The red one. Yeah. You put it in the middle of an empty space? Ugh. Those car rewinders were awesome. That's right. The red one rewound fast, of course. It has more horsepower. It's painted red. You guys don't put the cart in the cart return? That's like... Don't rewind videotapes either. SMH my head. Why would you need a videotape rewinder? VCRs could do full rewind. So you watch one videotape and rewind another one. I didn't have a Garfield phone. I was jealous of the people that did have one though. And Betamax to the moon. Diamond hands on Betamax, man. Yeah, they could rewind faster than the VCR. Yeah, man. Besides the Cape, what other launch sites could you go to geostationary? Kourou, the European site. I Alcantara in Brazil. Vostochny in Russia can get to it. Baikonur can get to it. Oh, EJ over here watching True Lies. Give me the case, Ein. Give me the case. No way, you psycho. Am I remembering correctly, or did they place a charge on your account if you didn't rewind? That sounds right, man. Oh, spoon, here. Here. Check this out, fellas. Look. So, you guys remember the other day? I don't know. Some of you guys may have remembered. I was talking about how people figured out that I have a pickup truck, and they're like, "Hey, can you help me move?" Blah blah blah. Right? You remember that? Well, if you don't, people found out I have a long bed pickup truck, and they're like, "Hey, can you help me move this?" I'm like, "Okay." But this one was worth it because I got paid. Right? But I didn't get paid with money. And despite what you may think, I didn't get paid with beer either. That's what I got paid with. 2 controllers, Duck Hunt, the gun, and the NES. Duck Hunt, man. Duck Hunt. We got Duck Hunt. Yeah, Badger. NES, 2 controllers, and the blaster, and a bunch of games. Yeah. That's what I got paid, dude.
Acquisition of signal, Gabon.
You got an AOS through Gabon. You got the TV to play it, though? Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, that was worth it. The zapper, man. The sure shot zapper. That dog gave me poor self-esteem. Where's the power glove? I don't have it. Yeah, that one's better than beer. Yes. Yeah, dude. This is... I am so happy that I have that, man. Yeah. It's the OG before they changed it to orange. That's right, Social. Yeah, you got it. What if I told you that that's actually my second one? I have another one. It's at my parents' house. I gotta find it. I'm still finding my crap buried away in my folks' house. I have somewhere in my folks' house. I have an N64 with all of the games. All of the games, and when I say the games, all the most popular stuff. I have an SNES, I have an NES, I have the Zapper, I have, dude, all the best games on NES, all the best games on SNES. Dude, I got it all. I had a brick Game Boy, but I broke it. It broke. That was a long time ago, though. Yeah. So the barter system, that'll come in when the economies finally go belly up. It's already up and running, yeah, right? Yeah, but have you played Gemfire on the SNES? Nah. Oh, nice AP, yeah. Does anyone else just blown into the cartridge to make it work properly? The good times. Yeah. Dan, those are good times. Good times. Yeah, me too, AP. Kirby Air Ride on GameCube. I don't have a GameCube, Blackness, believe it or not. Because after the N64, the next Nintendo that I bought was the Wii. I never got into GameCube because back in the day, with me and my circle of friends, back in the day, we all figured this out. So like, one of my buddies bought an Xbox, one of my buddies bought a PlayStation, and one of my buddies, one of us would buy an Xbox, PlayStation, and a GameCube. I had the Xbox, right? Another one of my buddies had PlayStation. Another one had GameCube, so I never bought a GameCube. Because I'd just go to my house, go to my friend's house to play GameCube, and when they want to play Xbox, they come over to my house, you know? That's how we had it set up. What's the problem with the Game Boy with the buttons? Now I cracked the liquid crystal display. I would love to, 619, but yeah. So yeah, we'd go and on the GameCube, what did we play? We played Smash Brothers. We play Smash Brothers, and then my buddy, oh, there we go. They're chilling down the second stage motor again here. And then at my buddy with the PlayStation would play GTA 3. And then Halo. Halo in my house. Yeah, exactly, AP. Yeah, because you ain't affording all the consoles. Screw that. Nowadays, that don't matter. But, yeah. And then one of my other buddies bought an Xbox, and his house, he had a bigger house than mine, so we ended up always going to. So what we ended up doing after that was bringing my Xbox over there and having LAN parties because he had a bigger basement, so we could in a huge projection screen TV. It was like, this was like 2002, man. So, yeah. Blood, yeah. Yeah, David, you see this? Look, yeah. Yeah. I got this for helping a buddy out. Hell yeah. Awesome. And then somewhere at my folks' house is an Atari 2700 that I gotta find. It's somewhere
Welcome
around
back
there.
to the
Here we go.
webcast
We're back.
of the Falcon 9 mission carrying the Hotbird-13F satellite for our customer Eutelsat. We've had a nominal mission so far.
chilling the
Falcon
engine
9
down,
launched
Tina.
on time at 1:22 a.m. Eastern Time from Space
Maybe it's a
Launch Complex
2600.
40.
I don't know the
We
Ataris
successfully
too well.
recovered the first stage on our
26,
drone ship just
27,
via the
32.
instructions for the third
Like-
time. And the second stage, it completed its first burn of the Merlin vacuum engine. And we're just about 5 seconds away from the second ignition of that MVAC engine.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Stand by for ignition. Watch this ice chunk.
Startup.
Ready? Swoosh! See ya.
All right, there we can see that has begun. This burn
Awesome.
is planned to last about 1 minute. And
yeah,
it will
she's
carry
going long.
the second stage and the Hotbird-13F payload into the orbit needed
Good
to
game,
deploy the
Subsonic.
satellite. We can see that orange glow beginning to develop again on the MVAC nozzle. About halfway through this second stage burn. Another 15 seconds remaining in this second engine burn.
There are some oscillations in the nozzle. I definitely see it, T-Man, but I'm watching it. That's why I'm not talking. I'm watching that nozzle oscillate. That does happen, but
Shut down.
purge down on
There
the
we
engine
heard
looked
call out
fine.
that we had good
Yeah.
shutdown of that second
Right, see,
engine
Alex, isn't it
start,
something?
or excuse me, for that second engine cutoff.
Is it
Nominal
cost?
deploy orbit.
Okay, they have a nominal transfer orbit there.
All right, there we just heard confirmation.
Yes, pretty
that we were
serious.
able to
That was a little sus compared to normal. Yeah, Prey, a little bit of a weird oscillation
Now,
from
for
that
those of you
M1D.
that
and then they stop showing it. Oh, that does happen. But yeah, T-Man, I was watching it. I wasn't saying anything because I sometimes, like, I'll be honest, I'm too tired to commentate, do this at the same time. I was just watching the nozzle. I'm like, I was gonna ask if you could heat your house with this. What house? You get an Atari and Dreamcast control. Nice. That ice chunk. I'm in danger. Is it cost effective to recover the second stage? 619. It's cost effective to. Yes, but there has to be two conditions. Okay. Use case is a big deal, right? So, is it cost effective to make a recoverable second stage? Yes, if you're flying a lot. If you're flying a lot. 2, second stage has to be able to fly a lot. You know, so you have two kind of use conditions there, right? If you can make a reusable second stage, like the shuttle, for instance, like the space shuttle. Who cares? You don't fly it a lot. It sits in its hangar all day. It takes a month to get the thing working again. All the savings that you got from reusing it or go out the window. You know what I'm saying? High frequency of flight is a big deal, and reuse favors. If you're going for high frequency of flight, it favors reuse. Those MVAC motors can't be cheap, right? Dude, yeah, it's expensive. Every rocket engine is. But also at the same time, getting the first stage back. First stage has 9 of these things on it. You know what I'm saying? It's better to get that thing back. This only has 1. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you don't want to get rid of it. SpaceX is trying to fix that problem with Starship, you know? But 619, it's very interesting. There's also a use case for an expendable launch vehicle.
That Hotbird-13F satellite still attached to Falcon 9's second stage and is set to deploy in just under 3.5 minutes. Now, while we wait on that deployment, here's some more information about Hotbird-13F from the satellite manufacturer Airbus.
Okay, it's a communication satellite. It's fine. So 609, there's also a case to be made for expendable rockets. You know, you can launch a lot. You know, like a reusable launch vehicle is going to be hard to make, right? You're going to need a pretty big factory to make something like that. Like, think about like an automotive plant that's designed to make like cars and light trucks, comparatively like a semi-truck assembly line or an airplane assembly line, right? An airplane assembly line is going to be freaking huge, right? It's a much more complicated vehicle, right? So if you're going to make reusable launch vehicles, you really, you know, they're going to take time to manufacture. It's a more complicated thing, right? There is an argument to be made that high frequency of flight, it doesn't really matter if your vehicle is reusable or expendable. It doesn't really matter. You can have an expendable launch vehicle. And if your expendable launch vehicle is something like Ares 1, for instance, with a solid rocket first stage, well, that solid first stage is very easy to manufacture comparatively to a Falcon 9 first stage, right? And you can get the casings back. So that favors high frequency of flight. Even though it's not fully reusable, it's partially reusable, right? So what can cause the engine bell to wobble like that in the first place? Combustion instability can do it. There's a bunch of things, T-Man. So you could make the argument that if NASA had Ares 1, right, and Ares 1 was flying on the frequency of Falcon 9, that it would probably be cheaper. It would probably be less expensive. Because it's a solid rocket first stage. It has 2 moving parts. The thrust vector actuators, the thing that does this and the thing that does this. It has that. Other than that, it's just a pipe with a pinch at the end, with an impingement at the end, like a gun barrel. It's very simple, right? So even if you were expending that and not getting your SRVs back, there's still an argument to be made that high frequency of flight can favor an expendable vehicle. But with the trends that we see with what SpaceX is doing, it tends to favor reusability. Reusability tends to be the favorable thing here. But on the other hand, trying to get that thing back from space is not going to be an easy thing to accomplish. But also, SpaceX, if anybody can do it, SpaceX can. You know what I mean? there's you know, there's clear arguments and there's clear arguments for both. I also really like the Jerseys Bandit. That's amazing. Depends on the use cases as well. And that's why it really always comes back to how often are you flying? How
As a
often
reminder,
are you flying?
Eutelsat
That's what
is
really
a
matters.
world-leading satellite operator in a footprint covering
back
Europe,
so much.
Africa, the Middle East, Asia, and the Americas.
So everywhere.
Payload separation confirmed.
Release
And there you see it on
separation.
your screen. Payload separation confirmed
Vaya con
for
Dios
the
satellite.
Hotbird-13F payload.
That's a pretty good view. So that's the bottom of the Horn of Africa right there.
And with confirmation of successful
This is the east
payload
coast of
deploy,
Africa.
we'll
Madagascar is
go ahead
down
and
here
end our
somewhere.
launch webcast for tonight. All of us here at SpaceX want to give a big thank you to our customer Eutelsat for entrusting us with today's mission. We also want to give a shout out to the Range and Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's mission.
Oh, they
As
only
I
give them
mentioned
the PAOs,
earlier,
perhaps?
today's launch concludes our 185th overall mission to date and 47th launch this
Acquisition
year.
signal, Diego Garcia.
Thanks to all of our viewers tuning in, and thank you for your continued support. Have a good
And
night,
acquisition signal, Maldives.
and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Kate. When will it unfold? They would want it to get away from the second stage, Pezzy. Get it a good ways away from the second stage. The second stage is still outgassing, meaning they're venting down tanks. They're going to deorbit it. Well, actually, they're not going to deorbit that stage. They're going to inert it. And the way Falcon 9 puts payloads into geostationary, their geostationary transfer has the low point in the orbit. In Earth's atmosphere, so when that second stage comes back around, it's going to hit the atmosphere and slow down, and then after 4 or 5 orbits, it'll just burn up. But when the satellite is separating from the stage, you just don't want to deploy the solar panels while the second stage is still venting down, while it's maneuvering away. You don't want to do anything like that, because the thrusters, there's nothing to stop the gas. So if the second stage outgas and it hits a solar panel, like that gust of wind, so to speak, hits the solar panel, it could break it. So don't just wait till it goes away. Have the payload's running off batteries right now. I mean, the batteries on the payload are fully charged when it's separated. It's not going to deploy the solar panels for a little while. Okay. Yep, I used up all my energy explaining expendable versus reusable. 619, yeah, it basically comes down to the use case. What are you trying to do, right? Like, what are we doing here? SpaceX with Falcon 9, even though Falcon 9 is way more complicated than like a solid rocket fuel first stage, they've gotten those things to the point where they can just bring it back, check the welds, do a pre-flight inspection, and then put it back together and then send it again. I've done it 14 times with 2 boosters. 2 of the boosters have 14 flights on them. 14. That's absurd. It's ridiculous. So reusability favors their use case, even though they have a complicated booster with 9 engines. Does that make sense? EJ.energy equals null. Yeah. Nan. All right. So... yeah, it's interesting stuff, and we could have a more in-depth conversation about it in the future, dude, if you want. So, yeah, I hope you feel better. All right, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow at noon. I'm gonna go to sleep. Yeah, dude, I don't know what that stomach bug thing that I had was. I mean, I feel okay now. I just feel like drained. Like I feel like I just gave blood. Like I don't know, man. Maybe it's just fatigue. I haven't gotten much sleep this week, so. Thank you for covering the launch. Rest up, Mr. Strimmer. Get some Gatorade. It's got electrolytes. Gatorade has the juices. No, Tarad, no. I saw what happened to you. No, I'm good, man. Are you all right? Yeah, man, I don't know. I'll live. Who knows otherwise? Slow going. Give me your truck and it'll make you feel better. Well, wait, maybe I said that wrong. It'll make me feel better. It'll make me feel better. I don't care about you. Seriously, though. Seriously, though, we should find a way to get it here. I can store it. It's not a problem. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. You can drive that around. It's cool. It's cool. You know? Make great streaming content. Just saying. Just saying. All right, dudes. Have a good night. I'll talk to you later. Flash leaves. Fine. Fine. Don't have a running truck. It's cool. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. Sorry about today. I'll see you. And thank you. Striker, thank you very much for the bits if you're still here. Do appreciate it. That was 10,000 bits. You're too good to me. Too good. Good night, everybody. I'll see you in the morning.